Hey, so I meant to include this on the last one for the looking at our testing two-sided test and then a confidence interval. So if you just remember our confidence interval earlier is the x bar plus or minus the critical t value and then s of x over the square root of n. So I took our x bar, which was 29.4846. There's our critical t-score, and then standard deviation, and then our n. And so then our confidence interval would be 29.4692 and 29.5 and repeating. Okay, so actually it kept going to 0, and then I think a couple more zeros you would get to 3. So there's that, just that little buffer there. Okay, we're actually going to use more of that later on. Whether or not it has to be on the AP exam, I'm not sure. I know there will be some type of confidence intervals, which we'll review with that here in a minute. Not in a minute, but in a couple days when I get a little bit more direction of what I'm going to do with that. Okay, so we're going to finish up. We've got a couple more things to finish up. Excuse me. So we're going to look first of all at inferences for means in paired data. All right. So I really narrowed this down because the narrative was really long, and I know you guys wouldn't want to write too much of it down. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at the difference between a express lane and a regular lane, like at a grocery store for checkout. Okay, so we randomly selected 15 times that we would go to the store. One individual would use the express lane, the other would use the regular lane, and then this was determined by a coin flip. Okay, all items are the same, so everything that we purchased is exactly the same. Things are paid exactly the same way. So then what happens is we enter the lane at the same time. We time in seconds it took to complete the transaction. And then once that transaction is completed, obviously time is stopped and we can see we'll look at the difference. Okay? So we're going to carry out a test to see if there's convincing evidence that the express lane is faster at the significance level of 0.05. Okay? So here's the data for the regular and express time in seconds. The green is the difference in regular minus the express. And what I did, I'll show you on the calculator, is I typed in the regular and the express in the lists, and then what I did is I went up into here. I already did it. Is I went in and I did second list 1 minus list 2, and it gave me my differences so that I could write it down for you guys. Okay, so that was a quick way for me to do that so we could look at it. All right, so what we need to do is real quickly go through and do our 4 conditions. Have they been met? Okay, so the 4 conditions again are independent, and the independent's been, there's two times that we do make it random. We'll get that in a second. But the fact that we went shopping on different days and what we bought doesn't affect how we're going to pay for another. So one trip won't affect the other. Okay, and then we had random, and that was stated twice. That was when we went to the store 15 different times, and then we went to, we used the coin to make it random as well. Then we got to do our 10% condition. So if we go to the store 15 times, is that going to be big enough for our population? So 150 times to the grocery store. I believe we're going to go to the store more than 150 times. Okay? So like attendance to the store is more than 150 times. Okay? Alright, so large counts. Alright. It's not stated that it's normal. We're not given the fact that it is the n is over 50, so we're going to have to do something else. So that means we're going to have to plot, right? So I'm going to go to my plot, and I don't want to use list 1, I want to use my list 3, okay? So list 3, because that holds my difference. So what I need to do is I'm going to go zoom 9, that's my difference. You guys can see that the plot itself is pretty straightforward. There's not any outliers, nothing too conspicuous for us to worry about. So then I would, since I showed you guys on the video, I'm not going to take the time to draw it out, but we would, if it was on a test or something like that, we would probably need to do a quick little sketch. Okay, so we drew on calculator, came up with no outliers or strong skewedness. So we're going to proceed to do a t-test. And you guys aren't here to yell at me that you can't see it. So I drew on the calculator, came up with no outlier. And then what I put up there too is or strong skewedness. And we're going to proceed to a t-test. Okay, so our null hypothesis, we're going to say the mean is equal to 0, because we want that difference to be 0. We're not saying that there is going to be anything, that there isn't one. Our alternative hypothesis is we're saying that the express lane is faster. So we want the mu to be bigger than 0. Okay? And this mu is the difference time between regular and express lanes. Okay? Alright, so we're going to do the 5%, so I'm going to go to my t-test. But before I do that, I just remembered that I don't have my data, so I need to go to my 1 var. I need it from L3. So now, L3, 1 var stats, I have an X bar of 42.667. We have a sample standard deviation of 84.0193 seconds. And then, of course, our n is equal to 15. All right. Now I can go to my t-test. I need to put my stuff in. So the zeros in 42.67, 84.1927, n is 15, and then we're looking at that is greater than. Okay, so then, I keep forgetting to do this. So I do a t-test. My parameter was 0, and then my x bar is 42.667, and then we did our standard deviation of 84.0193, and then n is equal to 15, and what that gives us is a t-score of 1.967. We get a p-value of 0.035, and so what we get from there is we need to come here, we say 0.035, our significance level is 0.05, so which one's bigger? That's right, this side. So then we're going to reject our null hypothesis. And then we write up our statement and say, since p-value is 0.03 is less than 0.05 of the, I better write it out, significance level, we reject the null hypothesis. There is convincing evidence that the express plane is faster than the regular lane on average. Okay. One more. And put that back up there. I suspect I'll hear more from you a little bit later. I'm trying to get a head start for you guys, so we'll talk to you on the next one.